Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the delay. We're one day before our boot camp. I was kind of hesitant on even doing today's session because I knew it was just going to get crazy the second I stepped into the office. But anyway, here I am. Hope you guys are finding your way online. Please let me know if you can hear me. We do have the crude oil report coming up. We will do that. Not sure if anybody is finding their way on. There's Ron, Miles. Okay, good. You guys are getting in. I guess there's a little bit of a delay. But if you could hear me, please let me know. And as usual, if you would please remember to hit the thumbs up button before you forget. I forgot to ask you guys to do that on Monday. Just kind of reviewing a couple things here really fast. 906. Yeah, so you can see we got long here on pound Aussie, hitting two of its targets and then stopping out. So nice one and done. There was a really great trade yesterday as well, hitting all its targets. On crude oil this morning, just a quick look. Kind of messy chart. Wow. Well, much depends on if you're using the 200 EMA, a diamond level setup, and if you are, it's pretty messy in here. So not the greatest session this morning. Let's see, where's the first trade? Pink trade here. Does it flip over to long? 12, 16. Does it get to 16? Yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, if you're using the 200 moving average, then you ran into problems. I'm guessing most of you are not. Let me know if you are. In fact, I don't even remember it being, I know we used the dark blue trade, but the 200, I don't think is part of the plan. It's just been so long since I reviewed it. I think I must have turned it on to show you guys how it works, but I don't believe it. It's really one of those, decide to use it or not type of deals. But that's what it should look like, I believe. John, maybe you could remind me. I'm sure you know. So, making a huge difference. As you can see, it's much cleaner without bouncing off the 200 in multiple places here. And that setup is certainly not designed for this situation. So that trade is still going. Yeah, so if you're using the 200, I just showed you how that could affect everything. And by turning it off, it makes a big difference too. So, if we are using it, I'll turn it back on. I just didn't remember. I mean, normally it's a good setup, but every setup has its weakness. You can see here that all these magenta setups off of that pink line. One of them wiggled into the long trade, which is unfortunate. So that would have been two losers at that point. It is what it is. And then, of course, let's just quickly review the YM. Right at 8:30. Pretty fast trade, but you could always anticipate the setup when you practice knowing where the low is, where the 14-point high is, 2 ticks beyond that. But in any event, a break even, well, it did almost get to target 2. It did get to target 1, but it was a really small 14-point trade. I mean, you could say that's one and done if you took it. If you missed it, there's this one, and that one also got to target 1. Much better trade, 29 points. Another chance to grab it up in here. So one and done on the YM regardless, and then a losing trade. So that was an important one to catch if you missed that blue one, which that would have been really hard because it was right at the open. I mean, even if you're anticipating the low, very little time to grab. So this trade is more viable for sure and better, which is good. What else? Tomorrow's boot camp day. I know a lot of you are signed up for it and excited about it. Me too. What's going on with unleaded? Kind of a messy morning for the most part. Unleaded able to get to a money management trade here. You can see the filtering out what would have been a losing trade. That's a squeeze zone filter working the way it's intended. I mean, it really would not have lost until here, but still, by filtering that one out, it provided for a subsequent trade that was more tuned to that moment in time, which at least brought the money management level down low enough to just barely get touched for break even. But then another long trade, which loses and is now short. So unleaded is short from 22,827. It's targeting 277, 2748 with a stop at 2896. So kind of a messy morning on some of these charts, on the energies anyway. And then on the 377 tick, that's a nightmare. Not sure. Well, where does it begin? The short begins here at the 9 a.m. start time, and it probably wiggles long on the purple. It's my guess. 13, yeah. So that one, you look at a chart like this, and it can be pretty hard to make any money on that. So a couple losses to start, and then if you started at 850, you got another loss. So this is just awful. I don't think you need to look at even the trades to know that there's nothing but pain in this chart. Definitely a crappy start. Now here's the good news. When markets open up choppy, they tend to open up as far as better trades come later in the session. Like markets start like this, and then they end up producing strong moves a bit later. So that's something to keep an eye on too, because obviously, well, we hope it'll help our live crude session, but just in general, markets trend and markets consolidate, and a lot of times they blow out of that consolidation and produce some nice moves. So you want to be alert and ready for those. Any questions? Again, welcome. Sorry for the delay in getting in. Anybody interested in the Catapult Energy Boot Camp on Thursday that has not yet signed up for it? There's one last chance to get it, and then it starts. So I know there's a few people that are still deciding, because I've received a bunch of emails about that. And if that's you, let me know, ask questions, whatever you need, because once it starts, it starts. I'm really excited about it. Those of you who are already signed up, sometime later today, probably in the late afternoon, early evening, but I'll get to it as soon as I can. I have to double check some stuff, but the indicators will be activated, so you'll be able to download them off the member site. I know a big finally, with an exclamation point. A lot of you are really eager to get your hands on them. So that will be available later. Yeah, John, were you able to answer those? Are there any unanswered questions that I need to address? Just let me know. Unleaded pushing lower. If anyone's in that trade, heads up. Money management on that is at 2.2783. 783. Let's see if it can get there. It's got to get through the 2800 key level. That's where it's kind of hung up on. You could see at this point right in here. See if it can push through it. You can see it kind of bounced off of it back here earlier. So that's definitely some support. It did just crack through a little closer, but still unable to get to the actual key level itself. Still a little bit below the price at this point. Maybe it pushes through with some energy. Okay, thank you, John. Crypticon says, do I need to send my machine ID? I already did, so last month when I signed up. Well, when you download the indicators, if they work, then you're good. If they don't work, you'll need to send it in again. So that's the only way I could answer you. Will is pretty good. He usually jumps all over it, so I'm sure if you sent it in, he probably already did activate it because he asked me to get as many people in as early as possible to help lighten his load, because there's a lot of people that are going to be on the the session tomorrow, the boot camp. Good morning, PKLM. Pickle him. Good morning, pickle him. That kind of rolls off the tongue. Pickle him. Good morning, pickle him. Hey, Pamela, I knew who you were. Glad to see you. I like pickle him. All right, so, there's really not a lot for me to do, you guys. Answer questions. Crude oil report coming up. Anyone still trading crude oil? It did get short. Crude oil's got into its third trade. It hit a small 11 tick target. You can see the stop is above the entry because the calculator doesn't know that you took profit at target one and probably don't want risk on the trade. It's just automatically moving the stop on the other side of the key level. And at this point, that might be a good idea because it's hiding above the 200. It's hiding above the balance line. It's hiding above the 200, the key level. And hopefully, after all this garbage up and down, it capitulates lower, but it really is not following through either. So, there's no really good place to put your stop. If you want to lock in your one tick, you'll probably get stopped out because that entry was at 99. So, if you put your stop at 98, that's right where the 200 moving average is. It's just nothing good about these setups this morning. And there it is hitting 98. So, and there it is hitting 01. So 98 would have been a better place. That trade's done. Not much money to be made in crude yet. Just losing trades more or less. again, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm stuck in the upper 900s for the longest time. I don't know why. I just can't get it up to 1,000. It's been so hard. So if any of you have not yet subscribed, please do so. It would really help. Other than that, what else? Just looking at the Forex Factory calendar, we do have the FOMC statement today as well. So not sure if the markets are on, hold, standing by, waiting to see if they wiggle in their chair the wrong way or who knows what. It's still summertime and we are almost getting into the dog days of August here. And unleaded, wow, unleaded just really as ugly as crude oil, flipping long, getting short. This is where having a tight trade plan is, you wonder about the one and done or the first loss and quit or whatever. Those plans are basically designed for sessions like this, which we haven't seen much of. These markets have been on fire lately, so definitely in indecision pattern to start the morning today. Guess we haven't looked at the Russell yet. Let's take a look at the Russell. Lots of early morning action, flurry of trades. Would have gotten synced short, would have flipped to long, and basically been a 2-trade winner. Although very little time to get long, and that would have been hard even anticipating the low of the bar. So these are trades you should practice. By the way, I'll cover this in the boot camp because it's important, but one of the things about momentum bars, it's a double-edged sword really, is that obviously it moves without time. You could have some latency with your data provider and your internet connection and your computer processor. By the time the bars print on the chart, time would have passed. Different for everybody depending on where you are and all those things I just mentioned. That's a challenge. But a benefit, something you should be practicing in sim mode until you get really good at it. First of all, you have to understand the strategy and know the rules. And that's why we show the histogram. Because if you know the setups, you would know there's going to be a blue trade if you get 3 dots. And of course, knowing what those 3 dots are and what produces them is pretty helpful. And then you can anticipate the entry. So if you know the low of the bar at 2199.5, and this is a 1.5 range bar, then 1.5 points above that will be the high of the bar, and 2 ticks above that will be the entry. So you can easily see that 2201 becomes the high of the bar, which it was. So while the bar is forming, hopefully it doesn't happen lightning fast, as sometimes it will, but other times you've got enough time to anticipate the high of the bar and place your order. But it does require using your thinking cap. It requires being sharp and fast and well practiced. So momentum bars are good for that, but you definitely have to sharpen your skills. And that's where using a sim account comes in handy, because you can practice setups over and over and over and over and over until you master them. And again, it's not just knowing the low of the bar, the high of the bar, where the entry will be. It's knowing what will create the 3 exhaustion dots. It's knowing the rules of the strategy, the blue bar poking above the 0 line, setting up the blue trade, and being able to see in advance the trade on its way, coming. All that takes practice, but then that's how you become a master trader with your strategy. And like anything else, practice is where it's at, and repetition and getting good at something. And you want to get good at trading because that's how you're going to make your money. And I know that many, many people do not spend the time to master their craft, and you should. You have all the tools to do it. That's one of the legitimate usages of a sim account, is mastering your trade execution. And that's how you should use that. There's really only 2 legitimate reasons to use a sim account. Every other reason is harmful. One is to master your trade execution, and the other is to practice running your trade plan like a business. Those 2 things. That's what you use a sim account for. If you use it any other way, you're probably going to reinforce bad habits. Remember the words of wisdom. I've said this in the past. I haven't said it in a while, but I learned this from an old drum teacher years ago. Or maybe it was a soccer coach. I don't remember. Practice how you intend to play, right? Practice hard, play hard. Practice like a wimp, play like a wimp. Same with trading. Use a sim account, get cavalier, and don't really care about what you're doing because it's only a sim account. What do you think you're going to do in live trading? It's not good. That's why you use a sim account, for those 2 reasons. Master your trade executions. Practice it until you can do it so fast and without thinking, like a reflex, like riding a bike. For the rest of your life, you'll have that skill. And you want to practice it with your strategy, of course. You use the sim account to sharpen your brain, to start anticipating trade setups before they happen, all that. And then get those trades placed over and over. And then the other thing is you run your trade plan that you hopefully have done your pre-production work on and proven. One of my main principles is proving it to yourself. And once you've done that, can you run it like a business over and over again? Can you do it 25 times in a row without a single mistake? How many of you have gone through that exercise? Because if you haven't, guess who you're cheating? Not me. Not the guy on the other side of your live trade. So who do you think you're cheating? Kind of a no-brainer. It's like this is one of the few businesses, industries, however you want to say it, activities, where you could literally master it without any money at risk. But it just shocks me how many people don't do it. All right, parrot goes back in the cage. I'll be right back, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Hi, Craig. Nice to see you this morning. Yeah, it's really quite simple. I believe it's either Control D or Shift Control D. John, maybe you could let Craig know the command to pull up the data window. It's probably in the View menu, and then you either Control D or Control Shift D. I forget. Try them both. And the thing to know is that when you click on a bar, if you want to freeze the data window at that point, then after you click on the bar, hit the Alt key. And then that'll freeze the data window until you click, Control D, thank you. Right, because if you don't know to hit the Alt key, then every time you move your mouse, the data window is going to follow your mouse. It's going to drive you crazy. So that's the problem, actually, with the data window in Thinkorswim. It doesn't have an Alt key command. There's no way to freeze it. So you have this data window in Thinkorswim, but it moves every time you move your mouse, so it's basically useless. But with NinjaTrader and MT4, by the way, once you click on a bar, you hit the Alt key and it freezes it. So that's really nice. With TradeStation, it's just intuitive. It just knows not to move the data window until you click the bar. You don't have to, or until you click your mouse somewhere else. There is no Alt key needed. So it's something about TradeStation I like, actually. The thing I don't like is the data window moves. I mean, mine doesn't, because I had a programmer come in and pop me back to an old version of Windows where it stopped dancing around. And of course, TradeStation refuses to support 9.5 anymore. They want you to move to 10.0. So that is an issue for some people. Okay, so there's a button you can push also. So usually in about 12 minutes or so, I would end the session, and then we all jump back in for the crude oil report. I'll leave it open for a little while longer just to see if any of you have any questions, but if not, then I'm going to just end this session early because there's not much more to do, really. We're waiting for the crude oil report. I'll stay here and answer questions, but this is the interactive time, so be interactive. If not, I'll just end it early, and then we'll come back in about 10 or 11 minutes or so. Ron says, can you help me with something on the CL chart, please? The trade set up at 840 did not get filtered out. Let's take a look at that one. On the 8 tick, I'm assuming you mean. So the trade at 840. I don't see one at 840. Ron, I don't know which setup you're referring to. John Ford, hate it when TS forces you to move to a newer version that breaks things. I agree. I hate it with anyone forces you to move stuff. You know, that's why I quit NinjaTrader years ago. I was on Ninja long before TradeStation. And I had it set up with Interactive Brokers. Every time one or the other would upgrade or update or do something where you had to download a new version, it would break my connection with the other. You know, Ninja wouldn't work with Interactive Brokers or vice versa, and it kept happening over and over and oh my God, it was abusive. And then I said goodbye to NinjaTrader. So that happened. Let's see, Ron says, and then the trade 853 is a yellow trade. I don't have any yellow trades. I have one here at 953. Yeah, make sure you, Ron, we do everything in exchange time so that, you know, we're all at different places in the world, but the exchange is always in the same place. And some exchanges are in New York, some are in Chicago, some are in Europe. So if you put everything in exchange time, then I could follow along what you're asking, because otherwise I have no clue. John, TJ, I sent you an email last night about John, I did respond to your email. I sent you a pretty extensive reply, too, answered all your questions. I think I hit send. Could you double check and make sure you got it? That was one of the reasons I was late this morning getting in. Blame John, everybody. I might have forgot to hit send. I think I sent it to you, though. Could you double check and make sure you got it? Okay, Ron, thank you. Let's see what Ron's asking. 953, 940. So 940. So tell me why you think that trade should be filtered out, first of all. And then 953 is a yellow. And why should that be filtered out? I mean, they're losing trades, but I don't see a reason they should be filtered out. In hindsight, I wish they were filtered out. But at the right edge of the chart, it's just following the rules of the strategy. So I don't know why it would. I mean, please ask me like specifically why you think it should be filtered out, and then we could address that. Picklum says, is there a reason you haven't moved to the TS update? Yeah. The reason is because I'm used to 9.5 and I have everything stable and working, and I don't want to relearn stuff. I'm an old dog and I know how to roll over to my right. I don't want to learn to roll over to my left. You know what I mean? The TradeStation 10, they rename stuff. They hide menus and menus inside of other menus. It's a pain, and I don't like it. I hate it, actually. Some of you like 10.0, and some of you, that's all you know, which is fine. I don't want to have to relearn stuff that works already. I mean, here's my opinion of 10.0. Some designer, a software designer who's never used a strategy or placed a trade in his life, decided to force some stuff down our throat because he thought it was cool. Sorry, that's my opinion. And I don't like that. Just like what John said. Hating it with some software company wants to be big brother and impose their will on you to tell you, well, I want you to use the software like this, even though it already worked perfectly before and you're used to it and know it so well. I'm going to break it and make you do this now. I'm going to make you learn new tricks. No thanks. Roger says the file edit view insert bar above the chart is missing. The file edit view insert bar. How do I get it back? Do I have to download the... Roger, are you saying that like your menu items are missing? Wow. I'm not a TradeStation support guy, so I just don't know. I don't quite understand your predicament. You might have to reload it. You might have a corrupted file. You know, I don't know if you have automatic updates or backups happening, but you could always go back to a prior backup. That's usually the best thing to do. Like, you should be backing up every week automatically, you know, late Sunday night or whatever. And then you can go back and just go back to last week's version. I don't know, Roger. That's a tough one because I don't really understand what you mean. Ron, does the 940 trade need to... Yeah. Ron, not the 950. 950 is showing pink. Well, here's the thing. I'm looking at these setups and I'm seeing a bunch of garbage, but I don't see any reason they should be filtered out based on the rules of the strategy. So what filter would you be referring to? Because we have a squeeze zone filter, and that's not a squeeze zone. A squeeze zone would have been a long trade in here going up, because the 50 is above the 200 pushing down, and we're going to avoid entries inside of that zone pushing up. There aren't any. So there's nothing to filter on the long side. The short trades doesn't fit. I don't know what other filter there should be. There should be the market is going to be garbage filter, don't trade. Unless somebody tells me how to invent something like that where you can actually read the future before it happens, I just don't have that filter. All right, good, John. Yeah, look it over and feel free to follow up with me with any questions. Roger, I do have them. I'm sorry, Roger. I want to help you. I just don't know that the YouTube Live is the best venue to help you. And I'll probably end up just telling you to go to TS Tech Support anyway, because I just don't know. Picklem says, it will be what I have to use on a new account. Oh, yeah, regarding the TS update. Okay, let me give you some insight. It's a good question. So, first of all, I bought my trading computers from Falcon Trading Systems, right? So they're custom-built computers. And they're pretty good. I've endorsed Falcon for a long time. They're not perfect, but they're pretty good. I like them. What I really love, though, is their tech support team, particularly a gentleman named Brennan. Man, that guy's awesome. So what he did after I explained to him my situation about the data window, every time I click on a chart, it would jump back to where it typically is. It's open when it opens up for the first time, and it was very annoying, made it impossible to trade with multiple charts. You guys remember that, and some of you might still be experiencing that. So I had Brennan go in there, and he's so good. He found the Windows update. This is all because of a Windows update from Microsoft, right? And then the TradeStation engineers refusing to fix it because they want everyone to go to TradeStation 10, right? So I had him go to the old Windows version and freeze my updates. So I'm sitting here with custom computers that are not getting Windows updates, but now my charts are stable. Hallelujah for that, right? Jeez, shouldn't be so difficult. But here's the thing, I only use my trade computers for trading. I'm not downloading stuff, I'm not doing anything, I'm not putting everything at risk, and I got some good virus protection on there. So, you know, I'm using a Windows 7 Pro on a TradeStation 9.5, yesteryear's technology, which is 10 times better than the new crap. It doesn't update. I don't care. It works. So there you go. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now, on my other computer, the newer one, I am using Windows 10, finger down my throat. But I also got my TradeStation 9.5 working the same way because Brennan did the same thing. And so now I got Windows 10, but no updates. It is what it is. Trading's more important. And I don't have any problems. I mean, it works great. Yeah, okay, maybe at some point I don't even know. I don't even want to think about updating because once that data window starts dancing around, forget it. All bets are off. I need that data window to be stable. So back to TradeStation 10.0, Pamela, you probably should go to that because it can do some pretty cool things. One is with chart trading, you can literally trade on your chart with stop limit orders. With 9.5, you can't. It has to be a stop market order, so I don't even trade from my chart. I use the matrix. But chart trading's pretty cool. Now, tomorrow, for the boot camp, we've got the best senior trainer at TradeStation doing an hour-long session. This is one of the surprises. I guess I'm kind of squishing the toothpaste out of the tube here. He's coming in to do an hour-long session on placing trades on TradeStation. He'll be using 10.0. So that could be enlightening for you, and maybe you hold off in downloading until you see his session. Or just go with 10, because what you could do is you could have both. They let you download both. You can do that. But there are things about 10, if you just get used to it, you'll never know all the things I'm complaining about because you'll just get used to it. So that's my speech on TradeStation 9.5 versus 10.0. John Ford, for those that are on TS10, how well or what kind of issue exists with the data window currently? Well, hopefully none. And anyway, that's a question that you could ask Jesus tomorrow. Jesus Nava, TradeStation. He's awesome. All right, guys, look, we got the crude oil report coming up in a few minutes. I need to kick you all out of here so I could reopen the room and get ready for the crude oil session. So, great questions. Thanks for the interaction. I know this was kind of nothing like Monday's session, but it is what it is. This is Trading 2. Hope you enjoyed the session. Please hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes with the new session that'll start shortly. All right, so giving you all the boot now, and I'll see you shortly.